Guys, welcome to this 2024 Oscars nomination reactions special. Don't forget we post full episodes of our show on every single Wednesday. You can catch episode 112 where I talked about The Kitchen and also The End We Start From. So if you haven't checked that out, go and check that out. But George, today as of when we're recording, the Oscar nominations got announced and I thought we would just react, comment on some of them. We're going to run through not all of the categories because we'd be here all day, and I think there are some categories we just can't really comment on that much. What we are going to cover is best score, best cinematography, best writing original screenplay, best writing adapted screenplay, actress in a supporting role, actor in a supporting role, leading actor, female, leading actor, male, best director, and best picture.
Boom.
Big asterisks for everyone listening, as I'm sure you're in a similar position to me and George. We have not yet seen The Zone of Interest. We're seeing that next week. We've not yet seen American Fiction. We've not yet seen Rustin or Nyad. And a lot of those are included in this. So obviously we will just reserve on that. But that's, I assume most people, unless you saw it at a film festival, are in the same situation.
Well, Nyad's actually been on Netflix for about 3 months.
Right, George, shall we start with Best Original Score? The nominations are as follows. American Fiction, we've not seen. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
So for me, I haven't seen American Fiction. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I'm like,
was
yeah,
so
sure,
uninteresting enough, so disinteresting that I never engaged with it.
Best Score, Star Wars.
People have said to me that the Poor Things score is amazing, and I believe them, but I actually can't remember it at all. I was so busy with the visuals of it. Oppenheimer's score is fantastic, and I think will win. But I do like Robbie Ryan's. I think it's Robbie Ryan. No, that's the cinematographer of Poor Things. Oppenheimer, I think, will win.
Me too.
Fantastic score. Don't get me wrong, but the Killers of the Flower Moon, Robbie Robertson's score, I do think is fantastic, and I was very much aware when watching Killers of the Flower Moon of how much that score was giving to the story. I did with Oppenheimer as well.
Holding
but
the
there's
visuals
something
with a very
about
steady
the
hand.
kind of southern gothic southern sinisterness of that guitar twang always beating and pulsing in the background of Killers of the Flower Moon.
Kind of like how Interstellar got like sort of absorbed by social media and that score is like the scientific discovery. There's a greater world out there. No, the Interstellar one. That has also now happened to Oppenheimer, which to me shows it's permeated through and it's like the sci-fi music, the Can You Hear the Music track from Oppenheimer.
And
next, Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah, fantastic score. So I think that will win and should win.
Next up is cinematography. The nominations are as follows. El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
We haven't seen El Conde.
No.
Not familiar with it. Start with Maestro. Beautiful looking film. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely stunning. But
I'd love to watch images of it.
Yes, exactly.
Again,
because the film is kind of weaker in other areas, I'm less keen on it. Killers of the Flower Moon, yes, shot very well. I do think it's kind of dwarfed by Oppenheimer. Hoyte van Hoytema,
it's just
brilliant.
next level.
Poor Things, I think it has a real strong contender there because Poor Things, is probably the only strong opposition, I think, next to Oppenheimer because visually it's so fantastic. But I put that down to also production design.
That's the thing I was thinking about.
Not
Poor
to
Things.
diminish
it's such a joint effort between the two. I think I remember saying that the design and the quirkiness and the jagged edge really lended itself to its cinematography style. So for me, like Oppenheimer and Poor Things could take it. Oppenheimer, I think they talked about this idea of like they wanted to capture that large format style photography and put that onto film and use this like elongated face structure, but using IMAX to shoot it with all the Nolanisms and Hoyte. It's a really, really breathtaking
So
film.
I would say will win, should win.
So next up, a writing original screenplay. We've got Anatomy of a Fool, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives.
So I think out of all of those, very good contenders.
All good films.
Except for we think Maestro is a bit weak, and all of them I can see how they've been nominated for that. I do think actually The Holdovers will win because of the momentum it has behind it at the moment. There's a lot of love for The Holdovers, as we talked about last week, and I think that will probably win. I think personally, if I was to choose it, I would probably go for Anatomy of a Fool, actually, because it's so well written. And there's a chance it could win it. All of those are well written, but I think it's probably between the two.
In the last week, it's been really nice to catch up with peers of mine who've also gone to see The Holdovers and how I think there's this idea of everyone's very refreshed by it. It's a really sort of type of film we're not getting that much, and a type of writing we're not getting that much, and it's just very sweet and a light touch to it. I think check out our review from last week.
Yeah, and I think what The Holdovers benefits from is that it's kind of feels both familiar and new. So I talked about this in the review last week. Very familiar territory, a lot of the tropes in it, but actually the way it's done feels refreshing and enjoyable.
And Anatomy of a Fall, the amount of detail that film goes into and how rewarded you feel for having paid attention is just brilliant.
So it
would be a great read, Anatomy of a Fall.
It's a good year.
Yeah. Next, adapted screenplay for writing. We've got American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Zone of Interest we're seeing on Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. Thursday next week, to clarify.
Yeah.
So our review will be the week after.
Yeah, sorry.
So
don't promise anything.
Hold your horses.
Yeah.
I think Oppenheimer will win that because again, it's a 720-page Pulitzer Prize-winning book that they've been able to condense down. Barbie, in a way, it's like adapted screenplay, not because it's adapted off a piece of literature, but because it's adapted from an existing
I think that's
IP,
really loose. Yeah, there was a thing once.
Yeah,
so therefore it's an adapted screenplay.
Oppenheimer again.
American Fiction could be great. Looks great, but we've not seen it
yet.
Next up is actress in a supporting role. We've got Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Nyad, and Daveen Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
So I think the biggest surprise here was America Ferrera for Barbie.
Me too.
I have to say.
A bit of a mixed reaction to her speech in that film in the second half.
I think I like that moment.
I liked it too. And a lot of people don't.
I almost think slightly cynically that people have gone, great monologue. That's a best supporting actress thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like America Ferrera a lot. I think she does a good performance, but it's just like that's not. I didn't recognize her as being one of the standout features of Barbie. Barbie feels very much like a collaborative effort. Everyone in it. I think actually the only person that does stand out as an individual is Ryan Gosling, actually, and we'll get to him because he's the only actor I feel, not the only actor, but he's the actor I feel in Barbie is working outside of their comfort zone, really stretching it as being the butt of the jokes, being buffoon. You know, Margot Robbie, who is not nominated, and we'll talk about that in a bit, is great, and we love Margot Robbie, but I also think the character of Barbie doesn't serve her full range of acting skills well. And like America Ferrera's character, I couldn't even tell you her name. Gloria, is it maybe?
It could be Gloria.
But like, I'm surprised to see that. Haven't seen Nia.
Playing Barbie in Barbie, I think, is a really hard job.
It is
despite
a hard
it not. I think Margot Robbie did great. I think she did everything the film needed it to do. I don't sympathise with picking up that script and going, how the hell do I play Barbie in Greta Gerwig's film?
I also think, and I said this at the time, is that the thing with Barbie as a character, she's very reactive to everything. So she is not. So sometimes as a character, it's hard to engage with her on a kind of deeper level.
And she's got to be smart and funny.
Yeah,
and
all these things.
Has to, have a whole emotional rounded end.
Of those, I think that we haven't seen The Color Purple.
No.
And we haven't seen Nyad. I think
Daveen Joy Randolph.
Daveen Joy Randolph seems to be the kind of front runner at the moment.
I'd say she's my pick of those.
Yeah.
Again, not seen Danielle Brooks. And then Emily Blunt Oppenheimer, I think Emily Blunt is brilliant, but I don't think that character for most of the film serves her very well. I think there's a really great moment in that final hour when she's getting cross-examined by Jason Clarke and she really comes into her own, and like Emily Blunt carries that scene so well. Yeah. But for the rest of it, like a lot of the female characters in that film,
sadly,
not sure.
Sadly
underserved. And Emily Blunt, I think, has done a really good job of what she got.
So I think we would both go for Daveen Joy Randolph for The Holdovers.
Deservedly. Next up, actor in a supporting role. So we've got Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. We've got Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. We've got Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. We've got Ryan Gosling for Barbie and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. That is a competitive section. Again, not seen American Fiction.
Not seen American Fiction, but I really like Sterling K. Brown as an actor. The thing is, the front runner by a long shot is Downey Jr. I say front runner both in the momentum he already has behind him, and also I think he does stand out. Don't get me wrong, I love De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon. It's one of the best De Niro performances I've seen in ages. I think Gosling is great in Barbie. And I love what Mark Ruffalo is doing in Poor Things. I do think Mark Ruffalo is doing really
worthy of a nomination.
Specific comedic. You've got two comedic performances in there, which is rare.
Yeah. I think like Downey Jr. expected to win because I think the tone of Oppenheimer in an awards season will weigh against him versus Barbie. But like on our emails, Ryan Gosling is like the supporting actor, people's choice. If Ryan Gosling does win, that would be such an amazing slight for everyone else just to win. Even though like Ryan Gosling totally deserving, it would just be thematically very off for the Oscars, I think.
I'd be happy in the sense that they finally recognise comedy, the presence of a comedic performance, and I would be happy with that. But I think everyone just agrees that Robert Downey Jr. is very good.
He was brilliant
in Oppenheimer.
Absolutely brilliant. Next up, we've got actress in a leading role. We've got Annette Bening for Naiad. We've got Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. We've got Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Carey Mulligan for Maestro. And Emma Stone for Poor Things.
So the current two lead horses in this race are Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. The thing with Lily Gladstone, what I found interesting is that she could have taken the easier route of going for Best Supporting Actress, which is what a lot of new-coming actors do. You're more guaranteed to get especially when the competition is hard.
When you're not an already very established name.
Exactly. However, she hasn't done that, and she has been picking up momentum. And I do think actually that she's becoming the front runner. I think Emma Stone is brilliant in Poor Things. I love her in that. Haven't seen Naiad again. We both love Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall. Brilliant. I don't think she will win. I don't think the momentum's there.
What a year she's having though. Zone of Interest.
Well, exactly. And Carey Mulligan is always good.
Always very good.
Always very dependable, and so rightly recognised there. But Lily Gladstone will win, I think, and deserves to win. I also have a slightly. This sounds quite cynical, but I don't necessarily mean it to be. But when I look at how people win Oscars now, and I think that the reasons that Lily Gladstone and Davine Joy Randolph might win an Oscar is because people ultimately love the story of them winning it, which is that they are lesser known actors getting their chance to win an Oscar in a limelight. Ke Huy Quan last year, exactly. It almost becomes less about the film, more about the wider narrative. And if you're an Academy voter, if you're the Oscars, it looks great. It kind of buys into the Oscars glory.
Given the 2018 Oscar So White thing.
Yeah, and the kind of debacles with the slap and the envelope. If you instead of having established figures get it, if you're able to kind of make people's dream come true, it's that sprinkle of magic cinema dust that giving it to a slightly lesser known person is. I'm not saying those two people wouldn't deserve it. They absolutely do deserve it. I'm just noticing a slight trend that they get recognised.
To me, if Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller or Emma Stone won it, I wouldn't react. I'd be like, yes, fair. Deserving. Whereas I think if Carey Mulligan or Annette Bening, again, I've not seen her in Naiad, I'd be like, oh. So those are my picks for me. I'd be happy with either of those three for me. Would be happy to take it. Next, we've got actor in a leading role.
Right.
Starting with Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
So we also haven't seen Rustin.
No.
I personally heartbroken that Andrew Scott is not nominated.
Yeah.
But actually, I'm
All
more...
of Us Strangers and...
Well, All of Us Strangers has got no recognition here, which is... Oh, okay, fine. I'm more heartbroken that Andrew Scott didn't get a nomination at the BAFTAs, considering it's slightly more home territory.
Yeah.
I know he's Irish, but it's still... he's much more of a name over here in the UK. But
Mescal... theatre actor as well, very present.
Yeah, but Paul Mescal and Claire Foy did. We'll talk about All of Us Strangers next week when James goes to see it. But I was very shocked about that. In this category, I love Coleman Domingo as an actor. I haven't seen Rustin, but I'm glad he's getting nominated. Paul Giamatti is great, and I actually think he's gaining a lot of momentum on the circuit. I don't think Bradley Cooper will get beyond a nomination.
No.
But and I love Jeffrey Wright as well. I love all these actors, but it's Cillian's year.
I looking at that, I go Cillian Murphy,
and I'm happy. Completely deserved.
Oppenheimer already has coal in the fire, and I think it will just tip over for him, and very, very deserving. Yeah. What a performance!
Oh, terrific
for that entire film, doing what he did.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And like an IMAX camera going
in your
literally
face.
6 inches from his face. Now act well, please. Very deserving. Next up, we've got Best Director.
Yes.
So we've got Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
Great to see Justine Triet nominated for Anatomy of a Fall. Martin Scorsese's 10th Oscar nomination for Best Director.
Yeah.
Lanthimos, and Jonathan Glazer, considering Glazer has only made one film a decade for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
It's not like he has lots of friends. It's not like he's drawing on a huge lobby to get him that vote.
He makes art when he's ready.
Exactly. But this is Nolan's year. I think this is Nolan's year.
See, but Mark, I agree with you. I think Nolan could take it based on the press he's got and all the actors talking about him and this huge sense of reverence. But for me, my vote is Martin Scorsese.
Really?
In terms of the quality of... my vote for Best Direction goes to Martin Scorsese. The handling of that film and the steady hand with which he takes you through it. I mean, I'm very happy for Nolan. But to me, the director of that bunch is Scorsese.
You know what? I can see
Hot
that.
take: Scorsese's a great director.
No, but I see what you mean. I mean, I did prefer Killers of the Flower Moon as a film to Oppenheimer, and you're right. For Scorsese to be delivering films as good as that, at that length, at that age, terrific. So I'm more just like, because Scorsese is such a established name. I know Nolan is as well, but Nolan's got years ahead of him to make movies. I'd be happy to see him do a clean sweep. But yeah, of course, if Scorsese wins, then yeah, absolutely deserved.
And then a little bit of everything. The Best Picture nominees are as follows. We've got American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, The Zone of Interest.
So with the exception of The Zone of Interest and American Fiction, which we haven't seen,
Yeah.
and Maestro, which we feel a bit weaker on, I think it's a very good year.
Yeah, it's
I think
the
that's
first
a really good...
of the categories you mentioned, Past Lives getting a first nod there.
Yeah, did it not get recognised
maybe for
a
screenplay? Oh, yeah, for
best
original screenplay it did.
Yeah, great to see it recognised. I think it is, but looking at that, the Best Picture frontrunner is definitely Oppenheimer. And I'm like, I don't actually know who the second one is after that. It could potentially be The Holdovers.
Could be Zone of Interest because we've not seen it.
I just don't think it's all about momentum. You've got to look at who's been winning the awards at the Critics Circle Awards, the Screen Actor Guild Awards, the Golden Globes. Unfortunately, the Oscars does have that thing that by the time you get to Oscars night,
people are like, we know that's good. This is what we, the Academy, think.
You know, but you already kind of know what's going to win. That's my point. So I do really think that it is Oppenheimer's year.
I think that's a really good selection of films for Best Picture this year. Again, I've not seen a couple of them. That's a good menu.
I think that's a really... And also...
To look at the year.
To go, these were some of the best films of last year. I go, yeah, that's a solid recommendation, a real spread there. But I can really see it now. Oppenheimer taking Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Score, Best
think it will just
Cinematography.
clean up?
I do.
You think it will clean up to that extent?
I do, in a way. I think it's got popularity. I think it kind of across the board. I think people, on the one hand, they love that it's an industrial success. It's a vote of success for cinema. It grossed a lot of money. It's brilliant. It's also, it looks fantastic. It's a very popular film. I just
biopic true story.
But it kind of ticks so many boxes. I think it will be a bit of a clean sweep.
Wow, it'll be interesting to see. And your pick would be
for the winner.
Of the ones you've seen for Best Picture.
Oh, I mean, personally, I would pick Killers of the Flower Moon probably in terms of my favorite films from last year. Anatomy of a Fall, perhaps, and Past Lives. I mean, we talked about this when we did our review at the end of last year. Yeah. I'd probably pick Killers of the Flower Moon for Best Picture, but I'm happy and okay with Oppenheimer winning.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
I feel like it makes from like an Academy perspective, I'm like, Oppenheimer should win. But then personally, I love Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall.
Oppenheimer also was it was the success story of last year, that and Barbie. Yeah. But Oppenheimer, I think, critically, and it just is a slightly better film.
No chance Barbie gets it.
No chance. Only because it hasn't got recognition in the other categories. I think it would be a real outlier for it to win, and I don't think it would deserve. Of all the films there, Barbie is not nowhere near the top of the list for me. Anatomy of a Fool's better. Holdovers is better. Killers of the Flower Moon is better. Past Lives is better. I think even Poor Things is better. Poor Things does a lot of things Barbie tries to do in a much more explicit...
If they had a category for best cinema experience with your family and friends, Barbie would win.
Sure.
The Saving Cinema Award. But guys, there you go. Those were just our quick reactions to the Oscars nominations for 2024. We'd love to hear what you think and what you think in the following weeks will win Best Picture, Best Actor, Director. Just feel free to send in what you think will win and why. We'd love to catch up with it just before the awards, and then we'll try and do a little reaction afterwards. But as always, you can send in your thoughts, your questions, your concerns to hello@popkitchenpodcast.com, and we'll read them out on the show. Don't forget to watch our full episode that came out today or this week. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.